everybody, good day. This is Joe. It's Sunday, November 3rd, 2019. What does that mean? Yes, today is our autumn ABQ Type-Out down at Penny Smith's Paper, and it's going to be starting at 1 p.m. local time, local normal non-daylight savings time, so hopefully people don't show up an hour early, or would it be an hour late? I think you guys over in Arizona have it figured out. You don't change time. So anyways, here we are. I'm getting ready for the event. And so what do we have in here? Well, we have 10 folding chairs. I have a folding table. I have my pack of paper, miscellaneous correction tape and all kinds of stuff. Extension cord, plug strip. I have some spare ribbons, and I also have adding machine ribbons. I have 3 typewriter repair books. 2 of those are the reprints that Ted Monk has done, and this one is the one that Lee Creighton has done. Let's go around to the side here. Here are the typewriters. So we have, yes, an Olympia SG3, Remington Quiet Writer, Olivetti Underwood 21, Thermal Typewriter, Casio Writer. Here is Adobe Rose, Royal Quiet Deluxe, Smith Corona Galaxy 12, Remington 1040, Olympia SF. And in the front seat is the big Sears Reporter, which is basically a daisy wheel electronic made by Nakajima. Yeah, it kind of takes up a lot of room. So there you go. This is a rather big SUV kind of vehicle, and to put all this stuff in it means there's only room for one person, me. Unless you want to strap somebody on top, which really isn't going to work. So, well, I have about an hour or so before I have to leave. So I'm going to just sit down and relax and think about what I'm going to do today. Well, there's always the question when I'm preparing for these public events, which typewriters to bring. And it's been my experience that you really don't want to bring typewriters that are delicate, because unlike a private meeting of the Albuquerque Typewriter Society where you know everybody, there's no young children, everybody kind of knows what to do. With a public event, people walk up that you don't know, and you kind of have to interface with them, interact with them. A lot of times children come up and their parents want them to play with a typewriter, and I'm fine with that, but you have to watch them. You don't want them reaching in and trying to unsnag a type bar and literally bending or breaking one just because they don't know what they're doing. So some of the machines, the older ones especially, or the ultra portables, are a little delicate, so I'm a little cautious about wanting to bring a representative sample of every kind of typewriter for my collection. So this time around, I'm bringing more bigger, heavier, medium-sized to large machines that I know that I've used before at Type-Outs, and they're nice and rugged and seem to work pretty well for that purpose. So, and I am bringing one thermal typewriter, the Casio Writer, with a scroll of thermal paper. I have rechargeable batteries in it, but I have, of course, the AC adapter if I need to. But I'm going to just hook that thing up with a roll of paper and just let people type on it, endless scroll, and see how people like it. I don't think I've had a thermal typewriter at a public typewriter gathering before, so it'll be kind of interesting. Well, so I'm going to sit here and just do some brainstorming and thinking about the event and sort of going through my mind of what's going to happen. And this is also a good time to review everything I might need. Like in my mind, I will actually unpack the car and set it up, and that'll kind of, if I forgot something, I'll realize, oh, I didn't bring that, and that'll help me to remember. How do I look? What do you think? Fancy hat? Okay. It was really good that I sat down and thought about what I was doing, because I realized I forgot some stuff. I wanted to bring some books, some writing related books, typewriter related books. I also had my art easel with the signed Penny Smith paper Type-Out that I put up in the breezeway of the strip mall, closer up toward the Flying Star Cafe to attract people down, and a few other things I forgot. Hopefully I got everything. We'll see.
We're going to put the books on this table.
Well, we're in the process of getting set up for our 1 p.m. Type-Out.
Oh, 1 o'clock, we don't have enough time.
Do we have enough time, Kevin?
We don't have enough time. Wait. It's fall. Set the clocks back 1 hour. We got plenty of time.
Now we got plenty of time. Plenty of time. Okay. And our little writing prompt is, what hat are you wearing today?
on thing down, and then squirt it with just soak in a squirt bottle, whatever I got in there.
I'll have to show you. I was out walking.
Well, it's the day after. Yes, the day after our autumn 2019 type out at Penny Smith's Paper. We had a really good time. Let's talk about it. Stay tuned. Well, one of the things that I really appreciated about Penny Smith's Paper, who hosted our event again for the third year in a row, is that they went out of their way to create some really nice artwork. They have these posters that they printed out and they placed along the breezeway of the strip mall where Penny Smith's Paper is located, and did a great job, I thought, doing that and the marketing part of it for us, and it was really great. So it's an outdoor event. It takes place in early November, so the weather was pretty good. It was a little cool. It wasn't too bad. A light jacket was all we needed. We brought a number of folding tables and chairs and more typewriters than we needed to, as usually the case is, right? So our Albuquerque Typewriter Society, we meet every month, and we have a regular group of attendees. And so we consider that to be kind of like our private meeting, even though people are welcome to show up who haven't been there before. But these semi-annual type-outs are really oriented toward the general public, getting people to come in who wouldn't otherwise think about typewriters and getting them exposed to the idea, sitting them down, having them type out whatever they want, just try their hand at a typewriter, and having a wide variety of typewriters to choose from is also pretty important, because a lot of people don't know really what they're looking for, or they might have remembered, oh, I used to have a typewriter like this decades ago when I was really young. This brings back a lot of memories. Some people might prefer electric or electronic typewriters. Others prefer the big upright manuals. Some prefer the little ultra portable manuals. So it's nice to have a wide variety of machines for people to try out. So I recorded a little bit of video yesterday about this event. Let's take a look, shall we? What's the story on that? Where did you get it? It's been in your family a lot?
No, I just browsing the antique store and Lomas by San Mateo.
Wow.
They have it in a case and asked her how much they wanted, and I was just like, done.
Does it work? Does it work?
I believe so.
Yeah. Wow, we should try it out.
Yeah. The only thing I don't know is I haven't done anything to the ribbon yet, so I don't know.
Let's get a piece of paper in it and we'll check it out.
Yeah.
All right, so he brought his carriage from his SG.
Yes.
And there's a label got stuck underneath the pan here.
Okay.
So obviously we want that out.
Yes, okay. Joe?
Yes, gotta.
So yesterday evening, Kevin and I had our post-type-out wrap-up. We usually go out to dinner and then sit around afterwards and talk about what happened. And we noticed that, of course, this is the third year in a row we've had this event in November. We're starting to notice more and more people are bringing typewriters that need some kind of service. Like, they've found a typewriter somewhere, they're interested in typewriters, they don't really know where to get them fixed, and all of a sudden, hey, there's this typewriter gathering, this public typewriter gathering, I'm going to bring this thing and see what they can tell me about it. So we had probably 4 typewriters, I know 3 for sure, and then somebody brought the carriage to an SG2 maybe, Olympia SG, right? Just the carriage. They had a label stuck in the paper pan underneath the platen roller. And so people are bringing these typewriters to these meetings, not really knowing quite how to fix or how to service them, not being experienced, not really knowing where the resources are, like online resources, for instance. And a lot of them don't even know about our local repair shop, John Lewis's. 3 years ago, we're seeing a lot of people come to type-outs who were just interested in writing with typewriters, you know, the whole typewriter revival kind of thing, and they were curious about it, but didn't really think about it in terms of machines that needed to be serviced as much. But now we're starting to see people who are curious about that. And even speculation last night, Kevin and I, during our conversation, was that maybe there is a a growing market for a second typewriter repair shop in town, one that's a little more oriented toward the newer typewriter collectors, who I would say are people who are interested more in using typewriters for practical purposes of writing than what you might consider to be the more traditional typewriter collector who just wants it to be functional but wants it to sit around as a display piece only. So there might be a nascent market for another shop here. It certainly looks like the interest is growing, and it was interesting. So one of the typewriters that was brought in was a Royal No. 5, and it was in gorgeous condition considering the age. The decals were surprisingly good, almost perfect, I would say. They picked it up at a local thrift store in the part of town where I usually shop thrift stores at. Yeah, so along with the machines that people brought in that needed some degree of service, there was a Royal KMM and, of course, that Royal No. 5. And there was also a Remington Streamliner, a little plastic ultra-portable. It had some bent things and things that needed to be tweaked on, and Kevin spent quite a bit of time looking at that and at least got it into somewhat good shape and got them a ribbon into it. So that was cool. But it's interesting, the amount of machines now we're starting to see people are bringing in needing servicing, and that's exciting, right? People are rediscovering typewriters and want to use them for practical purposes. The other thing that we brought 3 electric or electronic machines, a Selectric 2 IBM, an IBM Wheelwriter 2000, and I brought my Nakajima-made Sears Daisy Wheel electronic typewriter. And it turns out that those machines were used quite a bit. It seems like there's a new crowd of people that are interested in typewriters more for pragmatic purposes and less for the aesthetics of whether it's mechanical or round glass keys or whatever. They just want a typewriter that's dedicated writing, and they gravitate toward those electronic or electric typewriters because of the ease of use, the lack of mechanical issues, nagging issues. I can see that, and I think going forward in our future type-outs, I'm going to probably try to bring as many of the electrics as I can, because I really think there's more interest in those now. The people that are wanting to use them, they have practical purposes for typewriters. And sometimes the manual machines just don't suit them as well, which is interesting. But of course, one of the other cool things about going to these public typewriter events is pulling out of your collection typewriters that you haven't used in a while. And you have to sort of open them up and thread a piece of paper in it and kind of do a little testing and see, oh, is this thing working? Is it going to be okay? And then you bring it to the meeting and you set it up, take it out of its case, set it up on the table. You discover things like, for instance, the Royal Quiet Deluxe that I call Adobe Rose. It still has a beautifully dark imprint because of that silk ribbon that I put into it a few months back. And it still types just fine. Some of the machines, like the Remington 1040, still has a few type bars that are a little sluggish, and that's going to need some more degreasing. Sometimes you think you fix that, and you put it away for a while, and you bring it out, it still has the same problem, right? So you discover things about your collection, and you rediscover things about your collection because of these, and that's a good thing. And maybe that reveals the problem with having such a big typewriter collection is, practically speaking, you're not really putting all these machines to good use. Now, having said, on the one hand, that there were a number of people that came in with machines needing some kind of service, we did have several people that came to the meeting that were very interested in using typewriters for writing purposes. And that was real exciting, actually. People actually asked me, what do you use typewriters for? How do you use them for writing? And I explained my whole philosophy about using typewriters as the early first draft stage of writing, and then maybe the initial revision process. You can hand correct and revise on the typed out printout sheet, and then you can retype it as another revision, and then eventually it goes more into the editing phase in your word processor. So that's kind of my usage mode, and I was able to share that, and a lot of people it kind of resonated with them. And so it is interesting. We have what I've noticed in our Albuquerque Typewriter Society meetings and in these public typeouts, on the one hand, people that have a need to get typewriters fixed. On the other hand, people that really are interested in the writing side of typewriters. So there's like a maintenance aspect, and then there is the usage, the creative, the writing part of typing, and more of how to use them in the writing process. And going forward, Kevin and I were talking about this last night. We really want to get some resources in our society to do workshops, like writing workshops. People bring just one typewriter, and maybe the moderator will bring writing prompts or some kind of creative suggestions or assistance or help in our use of typewriters for writing. And that's kind of that whole aspect of typewriters that I'm excited about, and I want to see promoted more in our society, is that whole writing part of it, as well as the maintenance part of it. And I can even see going forward with our society meetings, we'll have maybe meetings that are more specifically focused on the one hand on maintenance, and then on the other hand on creativity and writing itself. Well, along with all of the people that came, and we have a new list of contacts for people that were interested, left their contact information. We're going to be sending out an email here shortly to them, and going to hook them up into our society, into more connections socially into the Albuquerque community of typewriter adepts. And that's going to be fun to see these new people come in and what they have to bring and offer to our group. But in the meantime, I want to encourage all you guys out there that if you're interested in having these kind of public typewriter gatherings in your community, there's nothing stopping you from starting a meeting yourself. You got to find a venue. That's the hardest part I found. As a venue, figure out your resources. You're going to need tables or chairs. Does the venue provide it, et cetera, and bring some typewriters and advertise it, promote it on local social media, the local newspapers, the independent papers in your town, however you want to do it, as much as you can, and go out and promote it and have fun. There's nothing stopping you from it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. That's for sure. Okay, guys, I hope you got some value out of this, and I hope you stay creative and have yourselves a great day. Bye-bye for now.